Grassroots Radio Colorado on KLZ 560.
Welcome back to Grassroots Radio Colorado. This is your host, Chris Cook, and I have Stacy Petty co-hosting with me tonight. Thank you, Stacy, for being here.
Always a pleasure.
You sound
to see the view
so enthusiastic there.
I was thinking earlier today about how I love when fall is approaching or is here. Those 2 weeks we all get in October of fall, and the view up here is gorgeous with the trees turned. And I was thinking,
we're not there yet.
Not there yet, but it's approaching. So
not there yet.
Approaching.
So we have in studio with us Corey and Andy Pate of the Party of Choice, and we are talking about. I think we were discussing during the break. I think essentially what we're talking about is how to reach those voters who think with their heart. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, if that's a valid way of phrasing that, but think with their heart. And the studies that have been done, that's a lot of our unaffiliated women voters are people who think with their heart. They vote with their heart, and they look at that kind of stuff. So being able to bridge that gap. As conservatives, as you were pointing out, Andy, how do we approach things as conservatives with reason and stats and charts? And if these charts don't work, we just get out bigger charts because bigger is going to be better, right? This is how we continue to try to pursue this conversation. It's not working because they're not thinking in terms of numbers; they're thinking in terms of their heart, and they care. Right, Andy?
Well, exactly. Another big mistake we make, I know I keep talking about our mistakes, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. It's good to point those things out.
Well, another big mistake we make is that we try to approach it from our point of view, not theirs, okay?
Right.
And what I mean is this. Every conservative, I think every conservative is Alex P. Keaton. Deep down, and we approach them and we basically say, well, you don't understand. If we cut corporate tax rates, this will increase investment, across the board in businesses and thus spur economic growth. I've actually given my wife standing orders. If I ever speak that way to anyone, she can shoot me.
What's funny is I have given that exact speech I don't know how many times. I mean, that's how I approach it. I am a CPA, so that's exactly what I'm thinking. We cut that, we spur investment, that's what the tax code is for. I have done exactly that.
Well, actually,
don't shoot me, please,
I
Corey.
won't. Trust me, we've all done that many times. I have too.
She's a violent woman.
But that's your language.
That's true.
That's the thing with messaging is you got to speak the language of the person who your audience is.
And that's also the circle she's talking, and I'm talking more about young people. And, you see, what I do is I'll look at them and say this: first, connect to where they are at. Connect it to them right away. You don't have time. Make them think immediately. You've already told them, hey, I think it's great that you've already connected with their heart. I think it's great you hold those views. I love it. It means you're unselfish. Now I always say something like this. Hey, if I take more of what you have, won't you cling to what you have left? And they look at me, well, yeah. I said, okay, 2 more really quick questions then. Because now you got them. Now they'll actually listen to them. And I mean it, guys. I actually do this.
It
actually works. I do
this.
this.
Does this a lot.
Yeah. Next question, okay. Do you think that the rich are perfect people? They're all wonderful, perfect. Every one of them is a cross between Jesus, Gandhi, and Mother Teresa, all rolled into one.
I'm guessing the answer to that question is no.
Yes. They say, no, the rich are this. Right, okay, so you think they're just like us, only they have more money to act on it. Great, okay, we agree again. So let me ask you this. If we take more of what the rich have, won't they cling to what they have left? You see, here's what happens when they cling to what they have left. They hire less, they promote less, they offshore their money. They move their money away from it. They will cling to what they have left. They'll charge more for their products. When politicians tax the rich higher, they know they're taxing all of us. Only they won't admit it, so they get the rich to do it for them. And by the way, I've used that argument with a lot of young people, and let me tell you something. If you lead it right, if you first take down the wall, they hear that and they go, wow, that makes sense.
Okay.
No wonder yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, and I think one thing that also is really helpful, especially if you're talking to someone who is in the service industry and relies on tips, is that do you want your bosses to be poor? Do you want your customers to be poor? Do you want your best customers to be poor? Because how is that going to affect you?
Yeah, and how about this? Do you want all your customers' employers to be poorer?
Oh, but they have so much more money than us. It won't hurt them to pay us $15 an hour because that's what all those extra profits are for. They make astronomical profits.
Once again, come at it from their point of view. You want jobs. Do you want it to be much more expensive to employ you?
They don't care. I don't know that they do.
Oh, a lot of them do.
Do they?
Yeah,
Okay.
because now, once again,
Maybe
you
I'm
first,
making assumptions.
well,
yeah.
you first have to tear down some walls. I wouldn't lead with that.
Okay.
You know, but I mean, if you come at them and say, look, the more expensive, here's the thing: if you want to get into business, and how to run businesses and economic factors and why this will crash an economy and all this kind of stuff, you'll lose them if you don't first wear them down with the other stuff. Okay, you first got to connect at the heart.
Right.
But another one I always ask is this: look, just throw something out and say, hey, tell you what. Let's say it's after school, you got $10 in your pocket, or it's after work, you got $10 in your pocket or on your Visa account. That's all you got. You know it. You're hungry. You're on the way home, and you want to notice how I'm connecting with them. You want something to eat. And there's that usual row of fast food. You got McDonald's, Burger King, Subway, Taco Bell, my favorite. And you got these lined up. And they're all competing for your $10. Isn't it great? They all have to offer value meals, and they have to offer all this stuff and better prices, and you get more and more stuff to compete for that $10. Do you like that? Well, I do. Okay, now let me tell you this. We have a businesswoman. She has $10 million to invest to build a business. Okay? What is America doing to compete for that $10 million? You see, she doesn't have to keep it here. She's got dozens of other countries lining up saying, we've got way cheaper labor, way cheaper EPA, way cheaper, lower corporate tax rates, way this, way that, way lots of stuff. What are we offering her to compete for that $10 million in her pocket to get her to build jobs here? Because you and I want jobs here.
Right.
When we say, let's make it $15 an hour, we're trying to create a utopia for all the workers here, but we're forgetting we should be competing for her 10 million, just like we want those people to compete for our 10.
Right.
Otherwise, we'll go somewhere else, and so can she.
Okay.
And they feel that.
Well, can I throw what I think would be the
throw the wrench.
recourse right back at you?
You bet.
And you say that and say, well, we need to punish them for trying to take that money offshore.
Right. And then you're getting...
Am I wrong?
No.
Stacey's just laughing.
But here's guess what just happened? Yeah, and there are great answers to that. And then you talk about tariffs, and you talk about how okay, so let's say you punish them and make them stay and make them have much higher costs to produce everything here. What is going to be happen to the cost of everything we buy?
Right.
Now you can get into those, but here's the beauty. Look what just happened. Remember, we started this with, there's that wall there, and they won't listen. You can't break through. You can't have a conversation. Now they're having it. Now they actually want to. I got a point here. Oh, yeah, well, why don't we just, and notice again, so you can come at them with two things. Number one, notice they're speaking out of control. I always say choice versus control.
Right.
Okay? So I look at them and I say, so your first goal, notice that the first goal is always to control others. That's the first statement of the left. Make them do it our way. That's where this all started. Make the rich give more money. Make them keep their money here. Make other people control the charity of others.
Right.
Trust me, that's going to hit them, because they're going to be like, oh man, I'm becoming the very people I didn't want to become. And then you can get into, by that point, all those economic things that you can explain on tariffs and all this, you can actually explain, because now they're engrossed. Now they want to talk. And you can win on those. We can win on those easily. The reason we never win on them is it never gets to that point.
Right. We lead with that foot, and it's the wrong way to go.
Wonderfully put. We lead with it, and it's right into our mouth. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just it seems to me like part of what we're doing here is we're first of all setting up a situation where they are going to listen. I mean, which is a silly statement to make, but I mean, we're trying.
No, it isn't.
But I mean, that's exactly what we're trying to do, and then we're trying to create a certain amount of cognitive dissonance within the person that we're talking to, so that they're having to adjust one way or the other.
It starts with, and here's the beauty. They start it, because we were wondering, well, how do we start it? How do you even get... They'll start it. There's plenty of... They'll constantly talk about, the boss makes this, we don't get this, the boss makes the $15 over here, they'll blog it, they'll say it at work. Tons of opportunities. Once again, first tear down the wall, connect and say you love the reason they feel that way. It's because they care. Then, then lead with points that immediately grab interest. If I take more of what you have, will you cling to what you have left? And stuff like this. Then, if they get to the point of starting to throw back things in your face, guess what just happened? They're engrossed in a conversation. You've already won.
Okay.
A conversation that was never going to happen before is now happening deeply.
Okay. What do you think, Stacy?
I'm contemplating a lot of this. The one message that transcends all ideologies is money. That's the thing that gets through to absolutely everyone.
Yep.
And not everyone understands the cost that it entails to have an employee. And when that employee gets that raise that they've been fighting for, if they end up using the force of government to make that happen, there's associated costs with that. There's, the employer has to match that 7.65%. The employer has to pay for the additional amount of workers' compensation coverage. I mean, I'm an employer, so I understand this is my side that I look at it. But there are associated costs that come with a raise, and no, it's not just, hey, honey, you're making $13 and $15. No, there's more there.
And this is all the brilliant stuff they normally wouldn't listen to.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. When we come back, let's talk about a few situations where this might be applied.